So yesterday we saw a news conference that was held pertaining to the case of the young brother Carmelo Anthony, where he basically defended himself, and the other guy, Austin Metcalf, ended up dying from a single stab wound to the chest. So press conference was held, and a lot of things, especially myths and lies, were dispelled in this press conference. So I want to go ahead and get right into it so we can discuss it. And if I can hold my composure long enough, I will not talk about Jason Whitlock and a post that he made on YouTube. But with that being said, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And when you do subscribe, hit the notification bell so every time I drop a video, you will be the first to know about it. Let's hit it.
Alrighty, we're good. Alrighty, so real quick, I want to start off by saying, real quick, that my comments are represented today by the Next Generation Action Network that have been working with the Anthony family from the advocacy standpoint. I'm not the Anthony family attorney. Of course, you know the Next Generation. Of course, you know the Next Generation Action Network is no stranger to this line of work. And we have been representing families for the last 10 years from an advocacy standpoint to get to the bottom of this situation. The Next Generation Action Network, since the last past week, have gotten thousands of calls regarding this situation and making sure that our organization was involved in this situation because of the growing tension of racism and bigotry involving with the case. I want to start off.
Shout out to this network because we said last video, I said in the last video that, asked where are all the black advocacy groups at pertaining to this case, because although young Carmelo Anthony did commit an act that cost another young person his life, he still needed representation, legal representation, the best that he could possibly get, the same legal representation that anyone else of any color, of any age, of any gender, any ethnicity should get as citizens of the United States.
Off by saying that I appreciate the deputy chief, John Stretch, from being able to come here to meet with us, as well as the assistant police chief, Darren Stevens. These are two individuals who are currently over the investigation that is currently going on in Frisco ISD. Of course, let's start off in the proper way. I'm Minister Dominique Alexander. I serve as president and founder of the Next Generation Action Network, the largest human and civil rights organization in North Texas. Today, we had a meeting with the leadership of the Frisco Police Department to discuss the matter of urgency in escalating racial threats and bigotry and online hate directed at the Anthony family. Let me be clear. The Anthony family cannot leave their home because of the growing threats towards their safety.
Speaking of that, it's kind of hard to really decipher what's real and what's fake, especially with this internet, because you got a lot of internet gangster, internet thugs, internet, what I'm saying, hard people that behind the screen, behind the camera, behind a keyboard, they'll say anything, they can make threats. But this has been going on since the beginning of time. Anytime, someone does something that someone doesn't like, especially like when race is involved, uh, people have, written letters, people have thrown Molotov cocktails through people's houses, people have put on hoods and burnt crosses in people's yards. A lot of people, and hiding their identity and not, coming out to the forefront, not being, man or woman enough to come out there and actually confront these people. But they'll get online and threaten people throughout all day. Like when this story first came out, you look at the comments on every newscast, every blog, you look at the comments, and These people are the racists. The racism just came out without any facts. People come out with their own stories, they make up crap, and some dummy will go right behind them and believe it. You feel what I'm saying? So, and they just want something to be racist about, something that allowed racism just to pop out for no damn doggone reason. So yeah, but my point is, it's sad that this family feel that they can't go outside. They should get some kind of protection because ain't that what the police is for? Protect and serve, not wait till a crime happens and then they come and investigate. That's not what the mantra is written on side of their vehicles. So yes, they should get some kind of protection from Frisco uh, until all this boils over, or the police should be doing investigations to find out who are the ones that are threatening these people. Because think about it, if it was like a politician that's higher up, I won't necessarily say what office they may hold, but politicians, if you say certain things, whether you are being serious or just saying out of anger, or if you are just trying to be funny or just to get clicks and giggles, they will investigate, and 9 times out of 10 they will come see you. So this should be handled no differently. Let's continue.
Their personal address has been exposed. They have received graphic and racist threats. They are being targeted with violence and simply because their child is in the center of this
Not
tragedy.
surprised.
We are here just for just this justice must be fair and impartial and protected from biases. We cannot allow racism and bigotry to divide us. We cannot allow white America to decide when and how Black people can speak up against oppression. We do not pull the race card, we live it. Yes, this case is a tragedy. Anytime a child is lost, we mourn as a community. Our heart goes out to the family of Austin Metcalf, but we do not race the right of the Anthony family to be protected and heard and treated with dignity. That's why today we spoke with the Frisco Police Department leadership to demand answers. We need to know what steps are being taken to protect the Anthony family, the strategies of the threats that's being spreaded, and how Frisco police is ensuring that Karmelo Anthony's Sixth Amendment right, fair and public trial, is is fully respected.
Can I go ahead and get my pettiness out the way? Because I want to be serious in this article, in this story. But okay, I've seen this guy for years, being an advocate for a lot of people that up here in the Dallas Fort Worth area. Uh, I don't know how old he is. I know he's younger than me. School system. School system that I grew up in, when you did a report, you had to write something, you had to do a report. It got critiqued, graded, read, like I said, they say, got the red pen. You drop the paper off, the teacher be like, all right, here we go. And then, you get it back the next day and it looked like, what I'm saying, like they cut a pig over. But it get reviewed, and reviewed again. I'm not sure if he read, it doesn't look like he read this. Maybe he's just nervous. I'm just going to take it up as nervous because I don't know if he's been in something this big in the 10 years that this organization has been around. Shout out to him. Hell, at least he's doing something. I'm gonna say that. At least somebody, at least he's doing something. But I'm just, being just being a little petty. I mean, might have should have practiced this speech a little bit. Might want to go back to school, take a couple of speech classes. I had to do that myself, and I still need to go back and take some speech classes because this thing on YouTube, it's anyway. I'm saying, but for him to get up here, this is worldwide. You need just to look like he needs to be a little more comfortable in what he's saying, and his speech probably should have been critiqued by a couple of couple of other people besides maybe himself. All right, back to seriousness.
Let's make it clear that absolutely we have the full permission and trust of the Anthony family and authorized for the Next Generation Action Network to speak today. Today in this meeting, we talked about and was able to give them graphic images of what this family has had to deal with for the last couple of days. It is sad. These graphic images not only display children with knives, black children with knives stuck in their head, the Anthony family's address. We saw when this case first started that people were putting online that when Section 8 was accepted into the Frisco neighborhood, that became the lead of the downfall of Frisco.
That's what I really want to comment on. It's funny how that was put out because I remember seeing that. First thing, that's one of the first dang on comments I saw. But again, like I said in my previous video, if these people do their research, if you really look into it, there are things about the white family that nobody's really commenting on or making a big deal about. For instance, let's compare the two. One, Brother Anthony's family, mother and father, still together. Brother Anthony has a high GPA. I think it's a 3.7 or a 3.9. He plays sports. He also, like his dad said, he had 2 jobs in high school. You go to the okay, and I know that mama and daddy make pretty decent money. I forgot what career they had. God, I forgot, but off the top. But you go to the other side, the what's his name? Metcalf, Austin Metcalf. His mother and father. If you look at the videos, you look at the interviews, you can put together that they are not together anymore. They are either divorced or separate. They are not together because when you look at the interviews, they are never together when there's an interview. But their boy is there with the father. So I'm just going to say that I believe they are divorced. The father had cancer 9 years ago. So my question was in the last video when I was ranting, why are they not together when the father could have damn near died 9 years ago? Amazing. I don't understand that. But then you look at the whole, like the Section 8 part that they try to bring up. The Austin Metcalf mom works at a pizzeria. And so does Austin's brother. I'm not sure if Austin worked or not. I didn't say that, but his brother worked there part-time. So the brother, so the kids, they all, worked, high GPAs, played sports. Like I said, if you took away their pictures and their profiles, you would actually believe that these kids probably grew up together, were good friends, could be good friends, and parents could probably were good friends, living in the same neighborhood. But when y'all want to make it a racial issue, okay, now we're finna get down to the nitty gritty. Because if it was flipped the other way around and Brother Anthony's parents were not together and his mother worked at a pizzeria, you would say, like he said, Section 8 ruined Frisco. Well, this is not a Section 8 family. But can we say the same thing about the Metcalf family? Because like I said, how in the heck are they living in that neighborhood? Like I said last video, look up the economic demographics of that area. That's high money. That's not low income at all, unless you, got a Section 8 house or living in Section 8. So the question is, how is that mother still living up there and she's working at a pizzeria? Quite possibly that dad making hella money and he's probably still paying, child support and spousal support. Who knows how they're doing it? Which is why he set up a dang GoFundMe page. Because like I said before, how come they ain't got no life insurance? They ain't got life insurance on their child. They're supposed to be, well-to-do white folks. That's what white people do, right? We don't do that. White folks do that. But That's probably why he set up a GoFundMe page. Matter of fact, they got two for that boy. For a funeral, you need $1 million to bury the boy. I'm confused. But sure, they don't question what that money for. But you got a lot of people pissed off that we have donated and gave money towards the defense for Brother Anthony. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna put that link in the description again in this video, so y'all can continue to give and support, because he gonna need it, man. He gonna need a great defense, and hopefully he get off, and then they can use that money to help pay for college tuition. Because most likely he'll probably lose like scholarships and stuff because of this, but it's not gonna keep him out of school. It shouldn't keep him out of school.
We have saw so many different hateful images, just hateful things. And the Next Generation Action Network wants to reiterate that Karmelo Anthony has a right to a fair trial, unbiased, and removed of racial hate and bigotry. I want to make it very clear. And I say this from my heart and my own personal reference. If someone wants to say race is not in this situation and shouldn't be, well, I asked all of those people to join me in calling it out. But don't look at Black people and say, don't always play the race card. We don't play the race card. We live it.
Yep.
We live a reality.
Because I remember, like I said, when this story first came out and they revealed who the victim was and who the aggressor, they revealed who Karmelo Anthony was and Austin Metcalf was, and they said it was in Frisco. Being from down here, the first thing I said is, "My God, why did this have to happen in Frisco?" That's the first thing that came out of my mind, because I knew what was coming. Not playing the race card, I just knew what was coming. And I didn't say that publicly and shout it out like Paul Revere. Said it in my head. I knew it was coming, and sure enough, there it came. So like you said, we don't play the race card. We live it. We know what's about to happen. And y'all don't even know the details. Y'all want to start talking about Black folk.
We also feel that the bond that Karmelo Anthony is on is too high. We do.
Yep.
Because guess what? We've been here when Aaron Dean was arrested. We was here when Amber Geiger was arrested.
Remember, Amber Geiger somehow got into a Black man's apartment that lived a floor or two above, because she's a police officer. Said she was so tired that she went to the wrong floor and opened the door. Somehow saw a dude in there eating a bowl of ice cream or cereal and shot him from the doorway. She's in prison now, of course. So we believe, so we were told. But her bond was not no $1 million.
$200,000. The system, it has a problem in it.
And I told you about a story where two 17-year-olds, well, a guy, he went to pick up his friend, who he perceived as being his friend, taking the Best Buy. Something happened. His friend shot him multiple times in the head in his car, and he got $150,000 bond. And this here was just an act of, I feel, was a get up off me poke, and just it was tragic. And this dude got $1 million. Come on, man.
Now, what I want to be able to do is ensure, and what we was able to hear today from the Frisco Police Department is reassuring that the Frisco Police Department is doing everything that it can to address the racism and the bigotry. We have saw the police chief, a statement being sent out by the police chief that was false. We have saw a false autopsy report that was false. We have to caution the community to say, hey, we cannot trust everything that is online. The disinformation that is going online is hurting this case, and it has to stop. It has to
Even the
stop,
dad said
y'all.
that.
As we know it right now, Austin Metcalf and Carmelo Anthony did not know each other. They did not know each other. Let's stop it. They were not at a party together. Let's stop the lies regarding this situation. We also know that both Austin Metcalf, the twin brothers, were on the roster that day to be at that track meet.
Thank you.
We also know that Carmelo Anthony was on the roster that day to be at that track
Thank
meet.
you.
We know they both arrived, all of them arrived to this facility via the transportation of Frisco ISD.
On the bus.
The lies has to stop, y'all. As far as the legal strategy, I'm not talking about that today because that's not my place. I'm not the lawyer. I think you guys have all had a statement in regards that the lawyers have asked for a bond reduction, and they will release that in the way. We are solely here because where racism and bigotry and hate arises, the Next Generation Action Network will be there and will respond to that hate. We will not allow our communities to go under attack. We know that when people see a white and a black man in an unfortunate situation happen, that race always become a factor in that
Every
situation.
time.
And it's really because people don't want to really have a conversation about racial reconciliation in this country. And the current climate that we live in, where racism and bigotry is at the forefront, we don't really want to have these conversations. And social media has been a stomping ground for people to be able to launch any disparity that they want to. And so, our heart goes out to all who are involved. The Next Generation Action Network continues to restate that we are here to support this situation based on what we have seen. We want to continue to express Mr. Carmelo Anthony's grounds of where he has displayed self-defense. I think that in the next coming days, as you see the things going out in the courtroom, it will be displayed. But today's meeting was solely about the threats that have been going towards their home and ensuring that there is a fair and impartial investigation going on. And I want the public to know that our organization, along with attorneys, are doing everything they can to make sure that race is not a factor in this case.
Too
Ensuring
late about that. Racism is where it's going to start and finish.
and supporting like we've always done. And so I really appreciate the police chief coming to meet with us today to answer all of those questions that we have had. And so at this time, I'll just open it up for questions.
Before we get into the questions, I say that I've been fortunate enough to be able to have grown, seen my family grow, you know, moving, starting off from little small country towns. Yeah, my dad grew up in a town it's not even it's not even on the mountain no more, but it is, but it's not. You know what I'm saying? It's about street about that wide. But anyway, little small country towns, came to Dallas from, when they started their own, my mom and dad started their own family, they moved in the hood. They came to Dallas, stayed with their brothers and sisters, helped them get established in Dallas, got little apartments in the hood. I've seen my family grow into like from the hood to middle class to upper middle class to nice house, not no somewhat outside city limits. I've seen that. So I've been able to see the good and the bad of a lot of people, white, black, Hispanic, Asians, or what have you. Went to public schools, went to private schools. I was able to send like my kids went to public school. I also was able to go to like private schools, part of their lives. So they've been able to see it too. In my lifetime, I've come to realize that race is a tool that's just used to keep the status quo, even by people who may not even believe in it or who may not even practice it. I give you an example, and I've used this example many times too in other videos, and I will continue to repeat myself until everybody hears and understands where I'm coming from. Because when the example is pertinent, I'm gonna bring it up. When I worked in a warehouse years ago, making what $10 an hour. This is like was it in the 2000s, maybe 99, 2000, in the 2000s, and it was I was buying a gift for my wife at the time, and I knew I wasn't making a lot of money, but I knew what I wanted to get her, knew how much I wanted to spend, because I was trying to build credit. So I said, went to a jewelry store, and a friend of mine, he took one of my coworkers, he took me because my car was broke down. We had one car, and he would take me after work, he would take me to my wife's job, and I would just sit in her car for a couple hours in the parking lot and just sleep until she got off. So this day I said, hey, can you take me by this jewelry store? Because I want to get her something. Now I knew I had A1 credit because my dad helped me build my credit growing up, because he would put me as an authorized user on his credit cards, and he always kept his credit card, his statements up to date and paid. So went to the jewelry store. Now we had just, like I said, just got off work. Dickies, khakis, t-shirt, dirty, sweating all day, whatever. Got off, went to the jewelry store. Me and him walked in, and got very little service. The basic, how you doing, this and that. I said, hey, I want to get something for my missus, and I want to use your credit for it. That's exactly what I said. And it's like, okay, well, if you see something, let us know. And it's like me, him, and like security guard and two or three people that worked in there. So anyway, they went about their business, talking and laughing and everything. Just left us to shop for ourselves. I saw what I wanted. I said I was gonna spend like $700. Saw what I wanted. I said, okay, this is what I want. And okay, I want to use y'all credit. So later hand me the credit out. I already knew it was gonna come back good. So I filled it out, turned it in. We were still using paper. Turned it in, gave it to her. And we looking around and stuff. We're like, man, look at this and then the third. Man, this is nice. Blah blah blah. I said, yeah, I know what I'm getting. Once they ran the credit, the woman hollered out like a high dollar amount. It was like a few $1,000s, I believe, was my limit. Soon as when she hollered that out, everybody's attitude changed. Everybody's coming over, trying to sell me something that was like more expensive, showing me, just automatically taking, hey, why don't you look at this, taking it out. I ain't had to point at nothing. She just taking jewelry out, putting it on a display, saying, this and the third, you can get this. Oh, this is nice. This is a good on your one, blah, blah, blah. This and the third. So, oh, that's nice. Don't show me like a diamond bracelet, necklace and stuff. I wouldn't have bought no diamond bracelet because she lose jewelry too easy. But anyway, it was like they were showing me everything. And I'm like, thanks, but no thanks. This is just this is all I want right here. Cause I know I can afford, I know I can pay this per month, and it's gonna build my credit. And so they still, they wrapped it up, cleaned it, wrapped it, boxed it, put a bow on it, put it in a nice bag. They gave me the greatest customer service because they knew that I could afford most of the stuff. Well, I'm not gonna say most of, but a lot of stuff in that store. They knew they could sell it to me, and then I paid monthly, but they knew that I could get it. And so at that moment, I realized it ain't a black thing. It ain't a white or black thing. It's a green thing. It's a green thing. I'm sorry. I think my neighbors are moving. Damn. It ain't a black or white thing. It's a green thing. And once I realized that, my attitude toward life changed. Was pro-black before then, still am now. And at that point, my goal has always been trying to educate myself so I can educate others, including my kids, and say, hey, number one, get education. Two, get past high school, go to college. You might not can't do it in 4 years. You might can't go to a big university, but go somewhere. I don't care if it's community college, get you a degree. Try to stay away from loans because I got loans and messed up. But anyway, it's about the money. If people think you got money, they treat you. Most people will treat you different. They will treat you with more respect. It's sad, but it's true. That's just the way this country is. They use race for those who don't have, for the have-nots. Because I guarantee if you go online and you look at all these racist comments that are being placed online that you see online, most of these people ain't got nothing. They don't. They ain't got nothing, and they mad. What was the movie? Rosewood. What that white man said? He said that Negro got a piano, and the sheriff said, "Man, you can't even play a piano." And he was like, "I don't care. That Negro got one." I'm using the word Negro. That Negro got one. Negro got a piano, so I should have a piano. That is like how they really think. Don't have a lot. Don't want you to have more. Don't get it twisted now. People in power, like I say, but they'll use that to us, to people lower than them, to to keep a divide negatively. When there really is like no, because they're gonna keep their people in power, make sure they got what they need, and making sure that those that don't look like them or those who are not their people, make sure that they don't have, make sure they don't get too much, because they get too much, they might take it off, because that's what they did. They took what everybody else had and snatched it and then ain't giving it back and used and took it by any means necessary. So yeah, they use it in order to keep the status quo, to keep people down, even their own people, even what I'm saying, even poor black people, even poor white people, to keep us down here, going back and forth with each other now. They don't mind, what I'm saying, black being on black folks, but if what black folks are going after white people, then you make sure we go after those who are in our same economic level, not going to Highland Park, what I'm saying, not going to Frisco. They don't, they don't want, they don't say they don't want them problems. They want to keep them problems down there in the hood, lower, what I'm saying, low class people, as they would call it. So you got to understand, like I said, it's not as cut as dry. Like I say, most people who are racist, they got probably got a little notoriety or a little power where they at. And if somebody comes and threatens them, hell, it could be, if they're of a different color, a different race, the race is gonna come out first. If they are a different gender, the gender will come out. They'll try to say things. Well, they really won't say too much about gender, but they will try to use race, call people unqualified, quick, fast, in a hurry. You know what I'm saying? But if you got the qualifications, if you got the education, if you know people who know people, you know what I'm saying, you can move up the ladder, you can get what you need. And really you ain't gotta worry about these other folks. Cause me at the point I am, you know what I'm saying, a lot of things I don't even worry about. I don't even concern myself with when it comes to race. It's like, man, look, ain't nobody came and put a cross in my yard yet. And if they do, they probably won't make it to the street. And they get close to the street, I'll drag them back in the yard because they on my property, committing crimes, committing hate crimes or whatever. But other than that, I don't worry about that. Go out in public, I don't worry about it because I see people as people, and it's like, shoot, I see you as, I don't care. You might look at me, you know what I'm saying, racially, and want to do something to me because of the color of my skin. That's fine, but it don't, in the grand scheme of things, it don't matter. It's just you versus me. No matter what you look like, no matter how you feel, it's you versus me. And my goal is to make sure I come out on top, either way it goes. Anyway, let's continue.
Dominique, what exactly did you ask police to do, and what exactly did they tell you they would do? And is it enough?
Okay, break that down. Just give me that again.
What exactly did you ask Frisco Police in your meeting today to do about these allegations of racism leveled against this family? What did you ask police to do about it? What did they say they were going to do about it? And is it enough?
What I've asked them to do is put an additional presence out there with this family around their home. They have ensured that they have had levels of communication, but for the family, it has been hard for them to know and trust everything because of all of the disinformation. And it made it hard for a lot of people to even trust law enforcement in this situation because of what was going on. It was one moment that we thought that the police chief made a statement regarding the case. Then we find out that's a lie, right? The family saw an autopsy report. You know what I mean? Now, at the end of the day, because of my experience, and growing up in the funeral home industry, I know that it's impossible to have an autopsy report, you know what I mean, something like that to be released in the matter of 2 days,
Real.
right? So we was able to dispel that really quick, right? You know what I mean? And we knew that that was never going to be the avenue that the Collin County Medical Examiner would release that information, right? And so it made it very hard. So what we've asked them to do is increase their presence. We've asked them for a direct contact for the family to be able to send them the information that is when they're getting it, you know, that they have a point of contact to be able to do this. You know, their home address has been shared. You know what I mean? The hate, you know, there's a lot of stuff that
And see, that's a cowardly act. You know what? And I'm not going to play the whole press conference. It's about 30 something minutes long, and we'll probably be here another hour or two. I'm going to put the link in the description below. So y'all can watch it in its entirety, and then y'all can comment, and you know, so we can have a discussion below. We can comment back and forth and really get into it. That's cowardly when you put somebody's address online, because here's the thing. I mean, just think about it. Why would you do that? You do that because you hope some other idiot will go to the house and do something stupid. And then you can say, well, hey, address is like public records. You know, you can go onto the appraisal district and find somebody's address. That's nothing, you know, that's nothing egregious or a crime. And they can just, you know, say what they say, throw stones and hide their hands. Like I say, like cowards. But instead of, if you was really about that life that you sitting online talking about, instead of going online talking about it, you would just watch, see what happened, get up, and then go do what you hoping somebody else is stupid enough to do. But you ain't that. But you know what I'm saying? But you ain't about that. You know what I'm saying? Your nuts ain't failed. You ain't turned to an adolescent or whatever, and your balls ain't fell down like they need to. So you get online and you do these type of things. So yeah, it's a coward. That's why I was saying earlier, like it's kind of hard to decipher what's real and what's fake. Because really, the thing about it is, you got people who will put what they say, put the key in their back, but they won't go out there and do it. They just hope somebody else will do it. And then when it happens, they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it happened. No, player, you knew it was going to happen because you did it. But I'm going to say it's kind of hard to figure out, you know what I'm saying, what's real and what's fake. So it's not necessarily the the people who post it. You don't have to worry about them. The people that post stuff, you don't worry about them, because you know they'll be like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, or this should happen to you, or someone should go do this. You know, they're not the ones you worried about. You're worried about the ones who you just gotta be careful. It's like, damn, now they don't put it out now. It's like, now I gotta see. So it's like, now I gotta, if you see somebody with a long, like the avatar might have like a long beard and sitting in their mama's basement writing this stuff, that's not the one that's gonna come out of his mama's basement and do it. It's gonna be actually somebody who's just sick and tired of black folk because they feel that somebody took their job at the pizzeria. Some brother took a job at the pizzeria, or Karmelo Anthony took a job at Foot Locker, and I took their son job at Foot Locker, and it was unfair because why that black boy got a job, my son didn't get a job. Was it DEI? Was it affirmative action? You know he didn't deserve that. But then you look, like I said, the boy was an A student, athlete, worked, good God friend, Christian boy, family went to church. What makes him different than you besides skin, his color of his skin? Seriously.
People are saying in regards regarding their son that are false. You know what I mean? You would think based on what is online, you would think that Karmelo Anthony is a person who is like, you know what I mean, a hooligan or somebody that doesn't have a home or structure or foundation or all of these different types of things. There's been a whole bunch of lies, like Carmelo Anthony was put out of his home days before. Just stupidity. They are all false and lies. And so, you know what I mean? It's just some of those things that the family knows, and things that were expressed. Like the family know they got to the bus to do that because Carmelo Anthony's car was at his school. You know what I mean? So it's these type of lies that is being expressed on social media, that's making it hard for a lot of the family to even trust. So that's the reason why we had this meeting, to be able to ask, answer any questions.
And just real quick, so what did police say that they were actually going to do? Are they going to increase
Yes,
protection for this
yes,
family?
yes. They accepted that. They did.
They did.
And
You said in the initial letter to the city that you raised serious questions about the thoroughness and fairness of the investigation, saying that you guys have spoken to coaches and other people that witnessed it and that they didn't follow up with them. Were you able to have that conversation with the assistant chief and resolve that?
I was able to have that question, and we were able to give those individual names up because the Next Generation Action Network do not want to interfere in the investigation. We're not going to release who they are, but we were able to have that conversation today. You know what I mean? That's what prompted them to even be able to come in. And also, we not only talked about people who were speaking out, like that had information regarding the case. We also reported people in official capacities, like people who are teachers, government officials, that have used their own personal social media to placate in the hate and the false narratives that are coming out against Carmelo Anthony. And we were able to report that information to them regarding it.
Do you stand by that though, that did they acknowledge that some witnesses have not been contacted by police, or
To be exact, Frisco Police Department was able to tell me that they have interviewed over 75 people, and it's ongoing. But they did acknowledge that there are people who have not been interviewed in regards to this case. They are aware of that. That wasn't, what I mean, like based on the information that we were getting, it was very hard for us to be able to, see what this investigation was going and how it was being together, because we didn't know what to trust. But we had to make sure that we get involved in this situation early, so that we can ensure that this investigation is fair and unbiased.
Do you feel better after having this meeting that it will be a thorough and fair investigation?
I think the jury is still out. I think that, they were able to come to me and be very sincere about it. I feel comfortable right now, but we have to see, right? They did answer my questions.
Like I said, I'm gonna put the link of this video press conference in the description box. You click on it, watch it all day, so y'all can hear everything for yourself. Because like I say, this only not even halfway done. But I will say one thing he said in the uh, in his press conference, that he said that there are videos out dealing with this, and no one said anything. has said anything about it. So they say they interviewed 75 people, and there are other people that still need to be interviewed. This is still an ongoing case. Now, I don't know if they dropped the bond yet. I mean, I haven't heard anything as of this morning. This is what, Wednesday morning. I haven't heard anything yet. So hopefully it happens soon. That boy does not need to be locked up. They are trying to ruin this boy's life. And it's a shame. And again, people don't ever want to bring race into it, but it's just the problem is when you see stuff like this, it's always a racial context behind it. I can tell you, I remember, I'll tell you, I went to school with this girl, this young lady, in nursing school, like sharp as a whip. Didn't have to study, never understood it. You know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying? My wife says she's the same way, but that they could go to class, you know what I'm saying, pay attention in class so they can read the book like one time, get an understanding, and then go take a test and freaking ace it. And that's what she would do. I mean, she would miss class because she was going through some stuff at the time. You know, she was a single mom. She was going through some stuff, had some, little warrants and stuff. But, she was broke, but trying to make it like I was trying to do, trying to make it, you know what I'm saying? Had it, you know what I'm saying? Trying to make money, trying to pay bills, trying to go through nursing school so we can get somewhere in life. Because it's hard out there. But like I say, she was going through some issues and stuff. She would miss some classes, and then they kind of, it was hating on her. When you had but you had these housewives of a different race taking the same classes, complaining about how hard the school was, how hard the classes were. They didn't have time. They couldn't understand, couldn't study. But you were a housewife. But this woman here is a single mother with a child, raising a child on her own, paying bills, trying to work, and she's making this schooling look easy. And they didn't like that. They did not like that, from the students on to some of the faculty. Well, anyway, a situation happened that was actually a lie. There was like going back and forth, banter. Then, when you say something that they don't like, then they say something you don't like, they laugh about it. You come back and say something at them, checking them on it. Now it's a threat, and they run and tell the campus police. And then the campus police, run a check, see she got a warrant in the city. So then they, took her on, and she missed a couple of days. They tried to kick out the program, all because they really thought she was cheating. They really thought she was cheating. But I'm sitting here like, no, this heifer ain't cheating at all. I guarantee she's not. Because nobody was her friend. I mean, she wasn't cheating. Let me just say that. But they thought she was cheating. They tried to kick out a program. She fought. She won her case, went back to class, and this helped us ace the test, ace the finals, got the NCLEX to move on up like a sun gun, like you know what I'm saying, like it was no sweat off her back. But it was all racially motivated by hate. You remember the piano? Because she had a piano, they wanted the piano. This woman was smart as hell, and they couldn't understand it. They could not understand it. But you had other people that were passing and making good grades, stuff like that, and they ain't say nothing to her. But because this one, they didn't like her for whatever reason, and she still. So that's what I'm saying. It's y'all don't see people. They don't want to have a conversation about race, but that's basically what a lot of it, unfortunately, boils down to. Until y'all can prove, and I'm talking about them folk, that y'all are not racist. And like I said, like this young man said, that if you don't want to make it about race, then when the subject comes up, say something about it. Denounce it. Denounce your people. That, hey, this ain't what this is about. Check yourself. That's all you got to do. And then we'll start to believe it and things can move forward. But until you do that, you just sit behind and keep it, twiddle your thumbs and don't say nothing. It's going to always be a problem. Anyway, tell me what you think about this story. Leave your comments below. Share with the world. Have an intelligent conversation. You know how we do around here. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Those 4 things cost you maybe a couple of minutes out of your day, but it means the world to us on this channel. If you would like to support us financially, you can always give super thanks, super chat, super stickers, or you can go to the description box. There are a couple of links there you can click on and, give us a nice little donation. Now, if you would like something tangible for your dollars, which a lot of people do, hey, hit that shop button, hit that Shopify link, or go to marlonmorale.com and check out all of our products, our luxury, high-end products. We got fragrances, we got silk products, we got beard products and handbags and so much more. Check it out. You would not be disappointed. Fragrances that last all day. When I say silk, I mean charmeuse silk. That's how you say it. Man, 100% best fabric for your skin and your hair. We don't play around here at Marlon Morale. So check it out. You will not be disappointed. And with that being said, I'll leave you in peace, and I'll see you on the other side.